Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Armchair Dragoons digital convention. We have the SummerSlam here with David Heath joining us today from Lock and Load Publishing. We're going to be talking about all things Lock and Load. And I think we've got a lot to talk about because not only on the tabletop, but also the digital games. Welcome to the show, David.
Hey, how you doing? Happy Father's Day, everybody.
Happy Father's Day, everybody. And that was why we had a little bit of a delayed start because we both forgot today was Father's Day.
Yeah, and, I'm having breakfast. The boys said, "Oh, when to get the breakfast for Father's Day after church?" And I said, "Okay." And I'm like, "Oh man, I said, we got to eat faster, guys."
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things where everybody forgot that it was Father's Day this weekend until today. I think a lot of time, with the people that are at the convention. But yeah, we've got a lot to talk about. There's a lot of board games that are coming out, a lot of board games that have come out, and then we also have a lot of digital stuff as well because you guys have been really doing a great job with converting a lot of the tabletop games to digital, like Lock and Load Tactical, Nations at War series, and maybe some other things that are in the pipe as well. So, and then I know that you have some new stuff that just came out for Lock and Load Tactical with the kind of expanding that out even a little bit more, adding like an RPG aspect to it, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, we have your little specialty counter. You can actually play a Moe German counter, I believe.
Yeah.
And I think there's one other one too you have in there too. So,
yeah, I got the Marine one, and I got the you had me down as Rommel. I was like, wow, I got a promotion from what was it, Captain to Field Marshal. It's like, wow, that's
just remember how he ended it all. Okay,
that's true. I had the one on the winning side, the one on the losing side, but pretty cool. It's pretty cool to be able to have people being able to put themselves into a game and like that, and take ownership of a leader and have a story to tell and a story to build over multiple plays.
Yeah, Tom and I have been buddies and doing programming and the game design for, I bet you it's close to 20 years now. And these are some of the things we were trying to do and somewhat accomplished when we did Steel Panthers World of War back when I owned Matrix. And we never got it to the level that we wanted to. The technology wasn't there. So when we started doing the new Lock and Load Tactical, and we basically put all those ideas in a pot, and we've been slowly going through them.
Yeah, and it's not something that happens overnight either, but you can see the evolution of the game. We talked about Lock and Load Tactical going and Nations of War going live at the start of this pandemic thing when everybody was locked down. It was a perfect time for it to go out, is when everyone's going to be at home, and both have really taken off and have built a strong following, and you guys keep putting out consistent content. And even though it's in early release, still, I believe for a little bit while longer, it is really in great shape.
Yeah, we're not really rushing the early release to release. I mean, I think pretty much if you take a look at the last year, you'll see that we released an update at first almost every day. Mm-hmm. And I think now it's almost every other day. Now it's back to every day. And the main reason is because when I ran Matrix, there was a lot of things that people wanted that we, I wish you could have done this. And we all kind of said, that was a damn good idea. Why didn't we think of that?
Yeah.
And you forget, but you can't do it now because you've gone so far in that other direction. You would have to undo months, if not years worth of work.
True.
Now everyone's giving us input. Every time we find an idea that we like that they've given us, we put it in there. And I think the gamers love it. I mean, there's one or two people who've complained, "Oh, I don't buy early access games," and not to sound like a schmuck, don't buy a thing, guys. If you that's not your thing, don't buy it. But I think if you look at all the updates, how we're responding to the public, it's all right there on the Steam forums. You can say, hey, these guys are extremely responsive. Yeah. And, that's what it's all about.
Well, I can see a legitimate reason for some people not wanting to buy early access games because there have been some games that have gone out on Steam early access and they get just abandoned. I know that there's a couple out there that have not been touched in like 2-3 years. And in my opinion, at that point that's where Steam needs to be responsible, and they won't be because there's revenue that can still come in on that, is to either drop the game completely out of the Steam library or to just dramatically mark it down or just warn everybody this is abandoned. So you're buying it at your own risk. And that's one of the things of the platform I wish they would correct.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind if they said, hey, if you haven't done an update in 6 months or 9 months, something,
Sure.
something reasonable, then either the game goes to zero, so it means it's free,
Mm-hmm.
or you take it offline. But,
Yeah.
I don't run Steam, so I don't get to saying that.
Well, Von Deacon here saying that digital updates have been awesome. So
Thank you.
really is, I agree too. Cause it's just been, there's constant, you and I talk all the time about, oh yeah, got another update. And it's like, oh, that's pretty cool. And then sometimes I'll get so wrapped up with other stuff. I'm like, oh, I'm 2 updates behind here now. So,
but on the same token, we have not been as diligent with the Nations at War up game, but it's not about being diligent. After the game was released, we really wanted to follow the same procedure, and it required the guys who made the original Nations at War game, which was originally done in Java, to update everything to Unity. And that took a while, which I knew it was going to cause a problem. But they've also given us phenomenal, I won't say phenomenal, very good editing tools. So my guys can put in all the data for all the games that are out there, plus the compendium, plus make random stuff up that has never been released. And then they can give it to the guys who are going to program it. They took that data and then just program it in there. So that we're right on the cusp of that being released, because we've given them now both Desert Heat modules. And Sean is putting the data right now for 3 or 4 new DLCs, which will be the compendium plus the 2 for Stalin's Triumph.
Nice.
So God willing, when we're all done with all that, they'll make that editor tool such a way that we'll make another editor, and we'll let the users have that as well.
And Jeff was asking here, so you moved to Unity across the board away from Java?
I don't want to use anything but Unity. And the reason is, you literally, and this is not an exaggeration, hit one button and you got a Mac version. A little bit more button pushing, but you get an iOS and iPad edition. I don't see any of these games really working on an iPhone myself. Okay. But, right now I'm working on setting up a Linux box, despite my test of
Linux.
Yeah, wow. I know. I picked the bullet. So I can make sure the game works on Linux too. Our goal is to make a game what's the easiest way to get it on all the platforms with the least amount of interference. And that's really what we're trying to do. So Unity really makes that possible.
Oh, that's good. And and aside from that, you've got some other digital games as well that you've put out, not just the Lock and Load Tactical and the Nations at War. Talk about some of the other games that you've got, that you have out, as well as maybe anything else that may be coming down the pipe.
Well, the guys who are doing Nations at War, and this is another reason why there's been a delay, guys, is they are also coding the new engine. So it will take World at War 85. And we're going to do the same thing with the DLCs and the same process. And that required some changes. I'm not even going to say significant, but I'm not the coder, so everything is insignificant to me. I just want it done.
Exactly. Yeah.
Philip and Daniel, who are the 2 coders doing this, they're really accommodating. And Daniel's on the other side of the world. Philip's here in the States. And then, of course, we're working around people's jobs and everything else.
Sure.
But if you like Nations at War, especially now, just so you know, the Unity edition is up on Steam. So if you already own it, you've already updated to it, as long as you've done an update in the last month or 2. And if you haven't got it yet, you'll get the Unity edition. And works on Mac. I got tons of Windows and Mac machines. I don't know if you can see, I got a 49-inch Windows machine here. I'm on a 249-inch Mac monitor machine here. I've got another Mac machine, iPad, and the Linux box. The Linux box is sitting on my desk. I just have to plug it in.
Nice.
I'm gonna get sunburn here with all the screens.
A lot of radiation putting out there. But you also have Victory and Glory is the other one that you have as well.
Victory and Glory Civil War game, which is pretty much done. It's done as far as updates to it. I don't believe it's going to go anywhere else than it is now. And it's a follow-up to the Victory and Glory Napoleonic game.
Mhm.
I like that game. I love strategic games, so the Civil War strategic level really was something. And Glenn Dover is a great designer. I mean,
Yeah.
I haven't found a game he's made that I haven't liked, honestly.
Yeah, that's fantastic. You also have the Command Ops series too that is still going strong.
Dave O'Connor's working on the new DLC for that. We don't direct that one as much as I have my hands very tightly on the rest of them. Command Ops is Dave O'Connor. Guy's got a pedigree a mile long, so anyone who's been playing war games knows him. And he is working on, I believe, the next DLC. He's been working on it for a while, but he's had some health issues and stuff. And but I know I talked to him not that long ago, and he is doing it.
And Jeff makes a good point. It always takes longer to build a game and a new game engine at the same time. It's not something that everyone thinks is really just snap your fingers and it's done. It's like, no, not really. Otherwise, everybody would be doing it, you know. Yeah. But and then you also have some more in the Battles on Demand series. You've been expanding out as well for the War Diary line within, because you publish War Diary magazine for Roy Matheson, and then you have some of those games that are under the War Diary umbrella, Atlanta Campaign and Bougainville that just came out as well.
Yeah, the Bougainville I like. I really do enjoy that game. I think that's kind of unique design. I have to give all the credit to Roy for that. Roy has gone out there and found these designs for us, and him and I discuss it. We pick them up. If we can make a reasonable deal, and you're seeing them in Battles on Demand. And the whole purpose of it is to, it's a Friday night. You're looking to do something. You can get it as a PDF download, play it, and that we're trying to move a little bit more of the product to a download mode. Not that you can get a printed copy, but just so it's a little bit easier. The DLC for the Emperor, I almost said Empire, sorry, for the Emperor, that is 10 scenarios for Heroes of the Pacific. We're going to make that a DLC download for the board gamers. They can just buy the book.
Nice. And
just download the 10 scenarios, and boom, you got to play them. There's nothing to ship to you. And we're trying to gauge the public. I mean, do you really want more maps? Because then if you really want maps and counters every time, you kind of have to wait longer in between. Sure. With the editor, I mean, we have a 10 scenario pack for Heroes Against the Red Star, a 10 scenario pack for Heroes of the Nam, and I think there's 2 other ones. Because we can now do a lot of this stuff online, test it, and then it takes a little longer to get to the print because it has to be edited and then printed to make sure everything is where it's supposed to be. Unlike a computer game, God forbid we make a typo, you make a patch and you fix it the next night. No one cares.
Most people wouldn't even catch it probably by that time that you're able to patch it.
Oh, these guys catch a lot more than you think.
Oh no, they do, but I mean, not like in a board game. Board games, there's some people that are out there that are, complaining about errata and are like, there's no reason for this, there's no excuse for this. It's like, well, you know what? Not for anything, but if you've ever been involved in development or proofing or anything of a war game, or any board game for that matter, until you've done that, you don't realize the processes, the steps, and where things can trip up along the way and how mistakes can be made. And it happens, when you're dealing with the more complex game, the more pages, the more counters, the more player aids, things like that, back of the box, the whole 9 yards, all of that has to be taken into account. And people don't realize that you want these games fast. Well, sometimes faster is not sometimes, but a lot of times faster is going to end up costing you, so you're just gonna have to roll with it. And in the end, it's like, really, is that misspelling of a word really going to affect your play of the game? No.
No, I mean, it's funny. We have found recently that in all the revisions of Forgotten Heroes, which became Heroes of the Nam, so you got Forgotten Heroes, Heroes of the Nam. I think we did Forgotten Heroes, another version of Forgotten Heroes we did. Anzac Attack was another version we did. We combined those all together, updated it, and did Forgotten Heroes. There's been 2 printings of that by us alone. And we still found accounted on one of the scenarios that had the wrong name. I mean, we're talking, it goes back to the original release from whoever it was, Shrapnel Games, I think it was. Yeah. More than 20 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and they were still wrong all the way up, guys. So, we miss things. I hate to say it, but we do.
Well, everyone does. every company is going to do that, but that's just the way, unfortunately, it does go. Now, do have a question from Von Deacon here saying, any news on Nations at War Victory Stalingrad, boxed or digital?
It has not gone hardly at all, simply because we've been Sean, who is leading the charge for that. First, we were waiting for the digital to get converted, then for the editing tools to put the other DLCs in. That we're up to. Those two games have been not shelved, but fell behind Sean's new game, Point Blank, the card game.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, which is going to be called Point Blank V is for Victory. And so that's going to come first before we get to Stalingrad, Victory Stalingrad at the moment.
Now, are you going to put Churchill on the cover? If you're going to do V is for Victory and have him doing...
No.
That would be hilarious.
Yeah. We have two soldiers facing each other. I think looking away, actually, is what they're doing.
Okay, I know that's cool. I just thought, that came into my head right away. I was like, that would be kind of funny because that was a little bit of controversy when it first happened. But I think it's pretty neat. Now, a lot of people have looked at that Point Blank as an upfront replacement because upfront is that game's got a lot of history, not all of it good, but it is a very popular game. And how would you rate it as far as comparison wise for people who they played upfront back in the day, they really enjoyed it, they miss it, they want something like that? How would you say, hey, upfront is if you're a fan of upfront, you definitely want to check out Point Blank?
Well, I hope it supersedes it. I mean, any publisher's dream is supersedes a classic like that.
Sure.
I've played Upfront. Upfront is more of a man-to-man game, and then you have that range thing. You're constantly moving the range, which I found very disjointed myself.
Yeah.
John's game is not man-to-man. It's squad-based. It's a true squad-based game. You're not sitting here necessarily putting a hand grenade on this guy and a flamethrower on that guy. You're playing with a squad. It's very loosely based on lock and load tactical.
Mm-hmm.
Really, it's a whole new system. He's got a unique line of sight, unique terrain in it. I find them to be very similar, just like I would say lock and load tacticals similar to any other tactical game and vice versa.
Sure.
But there are a lot of rule changes, a lot of differences. And so I think if you like lock and load upfront, and you like lock and load tactical even more so, I think you will enjoy this. I think you'll enjoy this a lot because it really does give you a tactical flavor in the card game, which I really haven't seen. I've seen man-to-man, but not tactical really.
Well, and that's been in development quite a while because I remember seeing it for the first time in 2018 at WBC, and here we are 3 years later. So it's not like this has been cobbled together quickly. He's been working on this for several years. So I'm curious to see how the game has evolved since I first saw it. So
funny you should say that because we're going to be meeting you and I over at the ProtoCon, is it called?
Yeah, ProtoCon next month. Yes, a small convention here. Well, it's a gathering, a convention. We're going to have some friends here in the North Texas area. So it'll be pretty fun.
Yeah. So Sean's going to come to that with me. And we're going to be bringing it should be Kickstarted by the time you get to see it, actually.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so it should be already on Kickstarter. And it's all good to go. I mean, I don't rush a design. I want to make sure it's to my liking. I don't want to publish anything. I have to go back. I've had, taking other games and trying to change them has been a real nuisance to me. The fact. Okay, what did you say here? Von
Deacon saying, any changes for digital counter icons in Nations at War like you did with World at War 85? I hope not, because I like them the way it is. Thanks, David, for Nations at War Stalingrad update.
Okay, the counters very well might get updated to match a little bit more the World at War 85 breakdown. If that's what you're asking me, I don't see them changing much, but we may arrange it a little bit more to match the two systems. It just makes it easier, honestly. But sure. I can't say that's been done nail yay at all at this point.
Well, you have that uniformity across the different systems. Even though they may be different systems, you're having that uniformity. So if you go from Nations of War, you can jump right into World at War 85 and know everything pretty much where it's at, and vice versa. So you have that cross-pollination between the two fan bases as well. and it makes it a lot easier for people to jump from the system to system. And speaking of World of War 85, there is a separate strategy game that you're also working on as well, right? We're going to be talking about that and seeing that next month.
Well, you won't see too much of the strategic game. Is called War in Europe 85.
Mm-hmm.
If you've bought Storming the Gap and you have the expansion pack that has I'll call it the campaign system in it, you're playing with you have cards for regiments, you have to activate more divisions. It's something very similar to that, but we're going to do the whole War in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
Not on the scale of World War 85. So before people start buying more tables, it's going to be on the strategic scale. I'm going to say divisions and armies. The map is the only thing we really have solidified.
Mm-hmm.
And Jeff is working on the rules. If you like what Jeff's done with the strategic game, I forget what we even called it, but it's in the expansion.
Nice.
You will enjoy that.
And there's also a naval game too that you're working on, right?
That's much further along. That you should be able to play. The designer for that will also be at the con with a printed map and counters. There may be playtest counters.
Yeah.
But if you're going to see a very unique naval system. It's not made to add them all together and play this monster game. It's just,
why not? Just take over a gym floor and play it all.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not saying that somebody won't try to do that when we're done, but that's supposedly the thing. After
and there's Kev Sharp from the Big Board joining us. He's one of the other troublemakers that may be at Dallas. I think he's looking at coming out here. He said he was going to, so hopefully he will.
He just has to tell us how much his wife wants to let you go.
And Charles is jumping in a little bit late. Yeah, not too bad, Charles. We started a little bit late, a few minutes late, so you didn't miss too terrible.
You missed the $1,000 giveaway, though, Charles.
Yeah, you did miss the giveaway. I mean, there were 10 games that David gave away, so you missed out on that. Everybody got one in the channel except for you, so sorry about that. That's the thing about being late. No, I'm only kidding. No giveaways. But now we do have another question here or a comment. Upscaling World of War 85 to operational level. That sounds great.
Yeah. Jeff's made some really nice progress on that. The naval game is, like I said, much further along. Mm-hmm. And believe it or not, just not that anyone really knows this, and they're still working on the system still, so it's not even a real playtest state. I believe Heath is working on an air game that will be in the theme of World of War 85, but it's just going to be the air war.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So we're using the World of War 85 more as
it's an IP. It's an
IP, yeah. But the systems are slightly different. But they're designed to be part of that same type of card activation movement system.
Sure. And now, as far as what are the plans for Kickstarter for this year, aside from upfront, which you were not upfront, but I got upfront on the brain. Point Blank, the new game Point Blank.
Point Blank should go first, okay?
Yeah.
Followed by Blood and Fury.
Okay. Which is the next World War 85 volume.
Right. Which will be it adds the Canadians. They're already working on third and fourth games. The team is very well broken down now as far as who's doing what. There's a new book already done, edited. I'm just waiting for I have the audio files. I just got to put it up on Audible called Edge of the Line. Okay, for the World War 85 book series. After the third game, well, we have a couple of games. I'll let Mo break the news. We've started 3 unique games. I feel 2 of them, believe it or not, are Napoleonic games, which is something under my tutelage Lock and Load has never done yet. Okay. One is called Close Quarter Battles, Waterloo. Okay. It's by Andrew Glenn. And it's I guess it's a regiment size. No, it's smaller than that. It's just a small part of the Waterloo battle. I forget whatever that famous Bond building is that they fought at Waterloo. Hougoumont, is it pronounced?
Hougoumont?
Yeah, that must. I'm not, I don't speak French, so I just butchered the name. Whatever the name was. Yeah, and the artwork in that is gorgeous. The artwork, the counters, the rule book, all that is done. It can go to press as far as I'm concerned. Andrew is working on just we wanted to play test some of the scenarios more. That's good to go. And the second game, and I kind of have to pull some of this stuff up. I can't remember my own titles, guys. Sorry. Is by Terry. And so if I find his name, I'll tell you too. Let's see. It was known as On Battles. You could have found it on Facebook. They changed the series name to Glory and Empire. And the first game is going to be Napoleon versus Wellington. Okay.
Wow.
The Peninsula Wars. So it's two battles in one in a way. And I'm trying to think what the scale is. Oh, there it is.
Now, the one thing you need to put in this game, when Napoleonics, you got to get Kev Sharp's face on a counter because you have to have Sharp's rifles in there.
There you go.
It will not be impeding on the IP for Sharp's rifles because it will be a different spelling of the last name.
There you go. But the Empire and Glory game, I'm looking up the. Am I able to show you? If I put it on my screen, I guess you can see it too, can't you, Mel? If I share it?
Yes. Yeah, I can share it out for everybody.
All right, hold on. Let me just.
And it's company scale for close quarter battle.
Right. I'll do that one first because actually, which one do I have here first? I'm going to do the company battles, close quarter battles first. Now, these may not very well be the final copy.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
And this is an era I know absolutely nothing about other than the stuff I watch in movies.
No,
Kev, I won't shut up.
Yeah, it's I am the same way. Why won't this go away? Hold on. Okay. But Devin's got a lot more Napoleonic. How do I share the screen? Hit the button here, right?
Yeah, the thing that says share.
Yeah. Hey, don't be, Okay.
Sarcasm. It's just an added service.
Okay, you should see that now.
Okay,
so that's
there we go.
one of the maps that's coming there. I don't know if I can zoom in for you. Let's see. Oh, look at that. It works pretty good on the map. Look at that.
Wow, that looks great.
And the guy who designed the game, Andrew Gunn, did actually the graphics too. And so you can see the scale is a lot smaller than most Napoleonic games.
Yeah.
But we're going to have him on the show and talk about it some more. And
Von Deacon, I got to correct you on that. There was a guy named Napoleon, and he was short. Actually, Napoleon was not short. He was actually about average, if not maybe even a little bit tall for his era. He was around 5'7".
Wasn't one of his arms shorter than the other? That was the whole big thing, supposedly.
No, I think a lot of that comes down to they used to call him Le Petit Corporal, and it was. I think I'm not sure exactly the whole detail about that, but I do know that there's a big. It's one of those myths in history that people it just carries on, and people think that was the case. And like I said, I know very little of the Napoleonic era, but I do like Napoleonic era movies and naval and even the land stuff. But what do we got here? We got this one here that we're going to look at.
That's the cover.
I love that cover.
Yeah, I like that cover too. I'm looking for the counters. Oh, that's not it. Hold on.
Jeff says he was average height, and Kev says he was 5'8".
This is scenario book. Not that.
Nice. That looks good. Nice cover.
Okay.
Nice, clean.
The counters. And I'll try to zoom in on that.
Oh wow, those look great.
It's a little fuzzy because these are like private counters for us to use to play.
Just preview. Yeah.
And,
no, that looks good.
Yeah, I believe Devin's going to be showing this off at that con too, possibly. And so anyway, that's that one. And then the other one is Terry's design. And this one, Terry has really, I mean, the design itself, in my opinion, is pretty advanced. There's a very famous Napoleonic series. Kev, I don't remember the name of it. Is it La Baptiste? Is that what it's called? La Bataille.
Yeah.
And from what I understand, Terry was either part of that team or helping develop that team. But over the years, it's about 50 years old from what I've been told, which I thought was pretty old for a war game. But it's a miniature game.
So Von Deacon says the counters just sold it for him. So you just got him all excited about that one.
Okay, now here, let me just see. Oh, this is Bougainville. I can't be right. Hold on.
I'm going to remove this just for a second. So that way, while we wait for David to find it, don't want you sharing anything that's like uber top secret.
No. Top secrets because I don't know it's there.
That's kind of the par for the course for all of us, isn't it? It's like,
yeah.
That's where that was. I forgot where I put it.
This is a player rate card. This isn't anything super fancy. Just you can show that while I am looking at the other stuff here.
Whoops. Let's see there.
You got that?
Yep, got it.
And this is more or less one of the things that Terry really worked with us when we were talking about publishing this. Was it was very deep in Napoleonic terminology. And there he is. Yes, that's right. And I said, I don't know what any of this means, and I don't want to have to learn that. So he's making a cliff notebook where I can look up the terms to learn them, or what does this battle term mean as far as my gameplay is concerned.
Oh, nice.
So you don't have to worry about it if you don't know anything about Napoleonics. That will not be a problem.
That's pretty cool.
Let's see now. Here we go.
I might actually be interested in that because, like, anytime people say, "Oh, I love Napoleonics" or want to play Napoleonics, my eyes just kind of glaze over. It's just not for me.
Okay.
This actually looks interesting.
Okay. Now, the two games, one is, again, I'm horrible with the pronunciation of these names. Vermo, Vimeiro. Vimero. And the other one is even harder to pronounce, Rolica.
Rollica?
Those are the two battles that could be in the first game. This is, I think, a vassal module. They were showing the game off to me, but you can see the counters. I'll try to zoom in on it again.
And that's a good point, that Kev's making here. He says, period, flavor is cool, but the cliff notes will be really cool because the biggest issues with the Le Bataille series is understanding what's what. And that is a very true thing. It's like if you don't understand that series and you're coming in cold, like, for example, I keep saying I really don't know anything about that, and I don't. If I was to go in there, I'd be like, okay, what is what, and what am I doing here? And that's how you lose people because there's nothing that draws you in. If you can make it relatable, like you're doing here, that definitely is going to draw people in. And who knows, you may convert them into a Napoleonic era fan.
Yeah, like I said, I like the era. And like I said, I was the one. I said, I don't know much about this, and I'm going to get lost. And yeah, Jeffrey, that is the shop. Yeah, and then here's. I think I have just the map from the other one.
See, I've played Napoleonic, but the ones I play with the Nappy 20 series that Victory Point Games used to put out, those are neat, but it still didn't, do a lot for me. And it's not that I'm against it. It's just I haven't found anything that's really sucked me into the Napoleonic era yet.
All right. This is the actual map. Like I said, I may have zoomed. These are samples. This is the actual game sample, but the resolution on this isn't printable, so it's a little, might be a little grainy for you.
Now, I may be pronunciating it wrong. It could be, instead of Rollica, it could be Rollice, Rollicha. I don't know. Someone in the chat can correct me here because I don't want to butcher it anymore, but I'd call it Rollica.
Okay, and this is the cover of that game.
First victories. Nappy versus Welly.
Yeah, and we know that Wellington wasn't called Wellington yet. I mean, I didn't. But we use the word Wellington because he becomes Wellington partially because of these victories.
So it's Rolicha, if it's Portuguese, is what my guess would be. Jeff can correct me on that.
All right. So we got those two games there. And then the other thing, I think the gentleman who designed the original Space Infantry games and worked with Blackwell on Resurgence has made a solitaire Stuka game.
Oh, nice.
I don't have the game is very far along. It's really kind of going into the really a late beta testing for us. I'm going to show you. I think is Blackwell's graphic on that.
So now we got everybody arguing it's Holika. I didn't see a J in there unless you use R's as H's, and then Holisa, and then Jeff is saying Rolika. So I guess I was just off in the pronunciation slightly, which wasn't too bad. Got to get into CNC Napoleonics.
Okay. You see that, Jeff?
Yeah, another one. All right, there we go. Oh, yeah.
Okay, so basically you have these missions, and there's a lot more to this game. This is just what Blackwell has finished graphic-wise, and you can see he did a phenomenal job with this.
Yeah, it looks great.
But all the different types of Ju-88s or Stukas are in here, and you'll have different missions. It'll go from Germany to, not Germany, from Battle of Britain, Crete. I mean, you can really jump around Eastern Front. You have a lot of different areas you can go to.
Nice.
So that's kind of a sneak peek because no one's doesn't even know this is on the radar yet, guys.
Well, now it is.
Yeah.
So now it's Rolisa is what Jeff is saying. And then Perfidious Albion says, don't you roll the R's? So that would be Rolisa.
I'll just call it Games Battle number 2.
There you go. And there we go. Charles is all on board with that. Sign me up for flight school because he wants Stukas.
I have to tell you, he does such a great designs. I mean, we actually have Space Infantry as a World War II squad game, individual squad game, COD game, just like the same thing. We're looking to make it that more into a commandos type mission thing because man to man on that scale at World War II, I don't really see it as much as if you're breaking into a radar station trying to get some secret plans or codes and get out. I tend to find that a little bit more the way Space Infantry Resurgence is. Yeah.
That would be cool because then you're doing those crazy Mission Impossibles basically where it's like, I got to get in there. No one wants to take these jobs, but these guys will do them because they're the Space Infantry. So that would be kind of neat.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then Jim is asking, he said he just jumped on. Apologies if it was already addressed. Any word on World War 85 expansion Kickstarter news outside of the standalone operational game?
Yes. We just said we were hoping between last week. We're hoping this week. It should come out any day now. So be ready for it. There's not much. I mean, the game is ready. I'm sorry. Wait, this is I'm thinking.
Yeah. World War 85.
You've got probably about 3 to 4 weeks for it. It's going to be the second Kickstarter out the door. Okay. So you've got Point Blank V's for Victory, which is our squad level game coming out the door next week, but somewhere soon, very soon. Right after that Kickstarter is done will be the Kickstarter for Blood and Fury, which will be the second volume of World of War 85.
And here's a question, because this is like the big elephant in the room, I think, for all publishers, for all businesses right now. Talk about at least what your understanding, what your knowledge is of the global shipping issues that are going on right now with the container shortages and all these delays. How could that affect the delivery of these games as well as other games from what you're hearing from other publishers, things like that? Are you hearing or anticipating any type of problems with that?
it's hard to say. I would love to find, even if it's more money, I know what the public's going to say, a U.S. publisher that can do it.
Yeah.
Okay. And I've looked, I've even asked online. I had a company in Dallas, as Moe and I talked. I wanted to go down there and kick in the door. I can't even get these people to call me back. Yeah. I don't even know if they can do it because I can't get them to call me back. And it's been almost a year. And it's not like I've tried once. I mean, I've tried multiple times. Mm-hmm. So I will make the same thing to you that I've said to everybody else. If you know a printer that can print ward names, knows what I'm talking about, okay, drop me, Moe, somebody a line, and I will call them and fly out to them, bring them sample games and see what they tell me. So far, it has been nothing.
Yeah.
Okay? So right now, the printer we have in China, he does a great job by us. I'm always happy with his quality. Okay. And I do this every time, and he seems to always find a way to move a little bit over to the left on me, but he's running out of wiggle room now. But he and I will set up the date, and then he promises me he will get it within a week of that date. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now, he can't promise me that the container ships. I mean, if you did the last Kickstarter we did, which was, the one before that, which was World War 85, this ship, they gave me the wrong name. Not once, not 2 times, 3 times. They gave me the wrong ship it was on. The ship supposedly went to all over the place. It went up and down the East Coast, all up and down China's coast before I headed there.
Yeah.
There's no way for me to tell you, but my goal is print it, 6 to 8 weeks, it's done, and it's on a ship. I'm not going to pack it up with 20,000 other products that we used to do and just get it out the door. It would be a lot easier that way.
The funny thing is, with that, the way that's going on, everyone's really concerned about that because it's a very legitimate concern, not just for games, but for everything, because it's creating shortages of different things across all manufacturing, across all retail spaces and things like that. So games definitely fall way to the bottom of the barrel when it comes to, the importance of getting these things out. Now, granted, obviously, there are some companies that will have way more say if they've got 20,000 units of something or 50,000 units or whatever of a game that they're wanting to get out to all of the Targets and the Walmarts, things like that. The big companies, they may have a little bit more sway as far as getting, the container space, but the smaller publishers are not going to have that type of power. But again, on Kickstarter, that's one of the things that you and I have talked about extensively before doing World War 85 was the mentality is different on Kickstarter. There's more, they're ready to jump on you and groan if there's a delay. And it's like, hey, listen, here's the documentation of the delay. So people have to understand nowadays, if you're backing a game, understand that there really truly are going to be shipping issues beyond the publisher's control. So just be mindful of that. And if you don't want to take that, if you don't want to wait, then wait for it to be on retail, but then don't complain that you're paying more, because that's the thing of Kickstarter. You're paying less and you're getting more.
Yeah. Basically what we've done to streamline it a little bit more. It took our warehouse when all those games came in, because you had all the expansion pack, you had the game itself, plus Space Infantry, plus its expansion pack, plus there was other things we ordered. I think it was another 3 containers worth of stuff.
Yeah.
It took them almost 2 weeks to 3 weeks to get all the products separated, set up, ready to go. And then we had apparently made things where you could, buy Nations at War stuff and throw it in the box. And then we had the Player Aid mat and throw that in the box, but you didn't have to take this dice. You're not going to get any of that. Everything that makes it on the Kickstarter will be in the game. End of story. It's going to be pre-boxed to ship, which means when I open up those containers and it says World at War 85 or whatever the product might be, I'm literally going to have to take your sticker, throw it in a box, and out the door it's going to go, because it's going to come pre-boxed. Okay,
nice.
To speed it up a little bit. And, I'm sure Darren and I alone delayed by nothing more than the speed of the print, if you think about it.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And the weight of the boxes will all be the same. So if someone wants a one-piece parchment map of something, that's going to be done after the fact, okay? Because it just destroys any type of speedy shipping.
Sure. Yeah, that could be done outside of the scope as a special one-off or something. And who the hell wants a parchment map?
Well,
maybe for the Napoleonic game.
Yeah, well, some people want the one-piece monster map.
Sure. Yeah. I missed out on that. That was really cool.
They're very expensive to print.
Yeah.
I put them up there for a month or so, and then everyone who wants it gets it. And it's not a problem to do if I do it that way, but trying to do that, get that in at the same time with the books and everything else, it's just not worth it.
Now, would it be cheaper, with that, you were talking about that one piece map, would it be cheaper to do it in maybe say 3 segments or something, just, using cardstock? Would it be cheaper and easier for you to do that if you were to reprint that?
The maps are all in the game already.
But yeah, they are. But I mean, if you wanted the giant one, yeah.
Yeah, it would be easier. But if you really want a one piece map and you're willing to pay for it, you're going to want the good material, something that can stretch and not be teared or ripped. So we're putting on a very wide printer and using very expensive paper. Is really what it comes down to. And the ink for those type of printers are not cheap at all. It makes copies look cheap. So I don't think we even make $20 on that. To be quite honest with you, it's really, we're doing it for a limited run. The printer that does it for us does a lot of other little things for us. So it's really, it makes his numbers really nice that whenever we print those maps. So, we could do it easier, but I'm not looking for easy. I'm looking for quality and, let's just say, speciality of it. Something that's, hey.
Sure.
I mean, I doubt there's less than 70 of those maps in the world today. I don't think we printed more than 70, so I can't see how we could have 70.
Now, when it comes to like the war in Europe and the naval war game that you're doing for the modern era, that World War 85, and then also the air game that you're looking at, that Keith is looking at. Whoop, he just went away. Where'd he go? He exited out. I guess he wanted to join it to exit out real quick, but we'll give David a second to come back. And hey, that's the fun part about doing these shows. Sometimes people hit the wrong button and then they end up dumping themselves out. But it really does sound exciting because there's a lot of the digital content that's going to be coming out now, continuing to come out for Lock and Load, and with the tabletop games that they've got, which are all fantastic. And here we go. Here's David back. You were trying to call me, and I was just like, I look at my phone. I'm like, I can't answer this. I'm running a monologue trying to give you time to get back in. But I was talking about how you've got all these tabletop games, and then you're able to convert them over to digital, and that's great because you're able to hit both formats. And what I was saying before you dropped off was don't hit and by the way, don't hit the red.
I didn't do that. It just stopped. The internet just stopped.
The internet just stopped. Well, pay your bill, and then the internet doesn't stop. But
I even paid the damn bill.
But the thing is, if you have like the World of War, like I was saying, the World of War games, War in Europe, the Air War, the Naval War games, are you looking at potentially putting those into digital format in the future as well?
My goal is to put everything in a digital format. I personally think gaming, people love playing face to face and playing at convention and stuff. There's more games played right now. Yeah, right, Kev. Only if you asked it, buddy. I think things like Tabletop Simulator and or Vassal. I find Vassal is slipping into popularity. I know, don't throw stones. I'm just a messenger. Compared to something like Tabletop Simulator, because you can save the games, you can play it live online, and people are really enjoying that. COVID is kind of, did I say it out loud, over. But, it really brought that up front. And as long as the board game publishers have a way to present the scenarios to the customers, we do it our companion books. I have so many people tell me that they don't want to spend $100 for a board game so they can have the scenarios to play in Vassal.
Yeah.
Okay. And I was surprised at the volume of people who said that, actually. So now that these guys can buy the companion book, which we say gives them a digital license, which means it has all those scenarios, tables and charts in it. The rules are a free download anyway, so you can get the rules for nothing, or you can pay for a printed copy. You cannot play on Vassal, Tabletop Simulator, or some other format that may come out that we don't know about yet.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I'm not going to say conventions are done with or anything like that because I don't believe that.
No, they're coming back. They'll come back next year. I think real strong.
Outside of private little groups getting together to play the games with their buddies, I think that a lot more people will play with them being online.
Yeah.
And so with that being said, I want to move everything we have to the computer, as well as make stuff that's just for the computer. And the community is a lot more, I don't know, maybe it's a thunderstorm. I just heard the UPS is kicking. Maybe that's what the problem is.
Oh, okay. Let me look at I'll look at my map while you're trying to figure out if you're getting hit with hail or anything like that.
My memory is cloudy. David, is Lock and Load still fair with Matrix? No, not at all. Matrix Games was my old company. I sold it. I have nothing to do with anything they do over there, good or bad. And right now, Lock and Load is Lock and Load. Everything is Lock and Load that I'm doing. The only game that they still are publishing, which is very old, is Heroes of Stalingrad, which only runs on Windows, and I know is a little clunky, but that's all I can say about it. I really don't know much about the game.
And Kevin Sharp says you're a genius.
Thank you, Kev. I'll take that compliment.
And Von Deacon is saying, is Lock and Load accepting player design scenarios for their games? If so, who do we need to send these to? Because I'm working on a monster scenario for Desert Heat.
Okay, depends on the game. If it's a Lock
Desert
and Load game, well, no, I'm just saying in general,
I know.
who the game goes to. That I would send it to Sean Joneser. You can contact us on the forums, Facebook. It is easy to get us on the forums because the designers and developers work our forums to answer questions and for that type of stuff. So that is the best way to get the right person as quickly as possible. So yes, we definitely we encourage and we want that. I mean, we just made the Lock and Load Tactical Battle Generating Scenario Editor. We just talked about that. It's not even, I think it's a week old now, maybe. I don't think it's a week old yet. There's already 15 new scenarios up there. Okay, and I've only got to look at 2 of them, but I asked people what they think of them, and it's great. I know Devin made 10 new scenarios for Heroes of the Pacific. The DLC is called Heroes of the Emperor, for the Emperor. Yeah. For the Emperor. And so yeah, this is the whole purpose of what we're doing. We want to get more communities playing this stuff, jumping in, and we're always looking for 2 more things too when you add it. We need developers, guys. We need guys who want not to have to design a game, but help us bring the game from the design point to the finish line. I'll give you an example. We have the rights right now to Rise and Decline of the Third Reich by John Prados. We have the rights to everything, including the digital, the Avalanche Press Edition, everything. It's a done design. There's not much to do besides new graphics, new counters, new design style, and maybe cleaning up of the rules a little bit, but it was pretty good for my memory.
Yeah.
But we just need someone to help take that part of it, get us all the stuff together with us so we can go to a Kickstarter or go to the printer or have the stuff handed off to a programmer.
Yeah.
So we're looking for all that.
Now, when I was saying about the World War 85 games that were going to, potentially go to digital, now, I'm not just talking about Vassal and Tabletop Simulator. I mean, like their own self-encapsulated games, like their own dedicated digital games like Lock and Load Tactical Nations of War. Do you have plans to do that?
Oh, yeah. The Nations of War, Nations of War is already on digital.
Yes.
So the rest of the stuff's going. World at War 85, the same people who did the Nations at War is doing World at War 85. And we are just working out the details of the editor to make sure we get the most bang for our buck with both of them. So to give you an example, they gave us an editor. Sean put all the data in for the Desert Heat modules. The problem was, and it's not really a problem, it's just a preference. Every time you do a scenario, you have to type in all the data for the map. Well, once you type the data in once, why are you typing the same map in a second time?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's just those type of little things. And you know what? The programmers, Daniel and Philip, are phenomenal. They didn't say, "Oh, well, come on, let's just get it going." They said, "Hey, that's a good point," and they're making the change.
Now, I do have one question. I haven't looked at the scenario editor yet, the battle generator. I have not looked at those yet, but for the digital stuff, I've been just so tied up this past week with everything else that I have not been able to get to
we'll
yet.
talk to our wives. Go on, man. Come on.
My question about it was, when it comes to doing any scenario editing or scenario creation, are you going to have it where you can pull the different mechanics slash special scenario rules that are in use in the different games and add them into your scenario. So like you're not locked into just doing the standard, hey, here's the counters, here's your objectives, and go fight. Are you going to be able to tailor each of these scenarios that you create to do different things, to do unique things like the paragraphs, things like that?
I'm going to brag a little bit now. I think that this editor, and I don't, if you guys have been watching me for years on the air, I really never say we're the best, this is the best, because, people's opinion. I'm going to see if I can share. I don't know how well this is going to work, so we're just going to have to see what happens. Oh, I got to turn it off over here. Hold on.
He's going over to one of his 90-inch monitors.
49-inch, get it right. I tell you, I love these big monitors.
Well, you need to get 3 of them and wrap them all around your desk, and you got to play like something like Star Trek Bridge Commander.
I tried putting 2 side by side. It does not work well.
That would be pretty cool, though.
Yeah, it's too far left and right. It's out of 49 inches is
True.
peripheral vision, basically.
Yeah.
Hold on, I'm trying to.
Well, you get the 49-inch, and you get a couple of like 32-inch on either side for the peripheral vision.
I tried that too. I bought another 49-inch to put on top of the same, so I can put all the mail and graphics on one, and what I'm working on right there. Okay, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do this. Let's see, tab out. Oh, I guess I lost it now. Where did it go?
What are you trying to do?
I'm trying to get it to play on the smallest screen so I can show you it, but I can't. All right, here's what I'll do. I'm going to go back into the game. I won't be able to see what you're showing me. You can't see the screen though, right?
Not unless you share it.
Oh, that's the wrong. That's what I was trying to do. I was trying to get it on the other screen. I don't see why it doesn't let me do that. But I'm just going to try to explain to you. Sure. What you're able to do with, you're asking about the scenario editor, right?
Yeah. Okay,
so if I pick a scenario or make a scenario, either way, if you pick a scenario that's already been designed, some special rule may not be able to be saved because it's not in the editor. Okay. And I know there's 1 or 2 like that. They're very few. But if you go to design a scenario by itself, you basically pick your game that you want to start with. So you pick on the top. I'm just going to pick Heroes of Normandy since it's easy for me. And that's what we call the side one is always the base game. I can now pick a different game. So if I want to take Heroes of Normandy and pick Heroes of the Pacific, I can. Or if I want to pick Defenders of the Rhine, any of that stuff I can select. But I'm just going to pick both Heroes of Normandy for now. Okay. And I can just pick a scenario. So I'm going to pick Rebecca, can you hear me? And I hit edit. Okay. Okay, so you can actually pick, and I can't really show this because the way the game is showed up on my screen, almost all of these special events across any game that you own the DLC to.
Okay.
Okay. You can actually pick up, edit, you can edit, make zones up. So if you can pick 6, 8, 12 hexes of a location and say, hey, everybody in this location, you are going to defend here. We don't want you leaving this spot. You can also do things what we something Tom and I designed when we were doing Steel Panthers World at War. We can pick victory location hexes. Some of them can be invisible. So what happens is we can, if you have a map and you've got 2 roads, let's say, and a path, you can have the AI set up to defend the middle of the map. And then what happens is you as the player move up the right or left side of the road, you run over or you activate and
it triggers the enemy there.
Yeah. And what it does is the computer understands that as, hey, you're taking a victory hex, I need to take it back. But what it's really doing is reacting to your movement. Okay, you can tell it to be aggressive now. You can say, I want you to be 10 times more aggressive than you normally are, and it will do different things. You can tell it to attack a location that's not necessarily an objective. So if you want that hilltop for off-board artillery that's coming on, or a spotter, you can do that. You can set special.
So you're programming the AI as well?
Yes, you can actually program the
Nice.
AI. Now it's light programming. You're not writing scripts or anything else. And but what you can do is tell the AI how you want it to act aggressively, defensively, where you want it to care about on the map, how big of an area, if you just wanted to worry about 1 hex building or you want to worry about a 15 hex area, you can do both. You can also put down events. Okay, you get to set up the event. So give me an example. You say, hey, this house is an occupational event for the Germans or for the Americans or whatever side you want to look at. You can do that as well. But you get to decide, hey, out of when you get to that event and so occupies it, 50% chance they're going to find, heavy machine gun. 25% they're going to find, I don't know, let's just say a flamethrower, or they're going to get reinforcements. They're going to find a radio to call in for some reinforcements. Or the other 25%, nothing happens, and it's randomized. And you can change that, I think, up to, don't quote me, I think there's 7, maybe it might even be 10 different variables you can put down for an event now.
And that kind of ties into what Fanglewolf is asking here, saying AI needs a chance for random switch in tactics. So is that something you can do where you can say, okay, over here, I want you guys to be aggressive, or can you say a set of random, like kind of a table saying, I want you to be aggressive or passive or just run away or just standard, and then it just randomizes it. So each time it's a little different.
You can't let the AI choose itself, but you can customize how it's going to fight. So if you're defending or you're attacking, I'll give you an example. If you're taking a hill, you can tell it to be aggressive, so it'll do more of an advance. Okay. Yeah. But if you want these sort of Japanese troops to, let's say, do a bonsai charge,
sure,
you can make it really aggressive. It's not going to worry about its losses as much like a bonsai charge.
Yeah.
You can also, by picking the aggressiveness, you can also tell it how to move. So to give you an example, don't worry about your cover as much. So you might run across the road or run up the road. Okay. What does Kev say? So we have
a base game. We just did the battle generator.
Yeah, and it will work with every DLC you own currently or purchase in the future. And
question on the tactics. So you say set aggressive. It sounds like there's already a built-in threshold that you say to be aggressive, and at a certain point, the computer is going to say, "Okay, now I'm going to start changing the way I'm acting." Is that the case?
Yeah, you see, it's a combination of it. See, if you put objectives that are invisible, and you tell it, hey, if this area gets occupied, attack it full force.
Yeah.
Okay, now, if the player doesn't go that way, it's obviously not going to react to that. That's really what the problem with the computer AI is now. It just tries to do the same stupid thing over and over and over.
Yeah.
Until it knows. Now we're telling you, you're not, if the guy doesn't come up the right side of the road, it's not going to act aggressively that way. If it comes up the center and it's already defending there, it will defend as much as you've made it. Now, what happens if you go up the right side of the road and the guy runs over, and then you're coming up the middle of the road? What does it do? It could take another group. It could split the force. It's really
pretty simple. Trigger points, and then if then go tos is what you're doing. Is essentially, okay.
Yeah. And we're going to add a lot more features to that. Thomas made a lot of advancement on the AI. I saw someone posted that the AI doesn't do well in the battle generator, but the AI is, attacking now. It's defending. It's retreating. It's worrying about terrain. Is as good as a human being. I don't think if we did this for 5 more years, it's ever going to be that good.
Well, it depends on the person. It depends on the person, because some people, just play dumb, or they don't see things the same way, or they just are always going to be like, attack. It doesn't matter. I'm going to lose. I'm going to keep going forward, or they're going to be I'm just going to hold the line, or I'm going to, just keep backing off, things like that. So as long as you can not randomize it, but it would be nice if you can have like a couple different ways, like you design a scenario one way, and then you had a couple of different options within that scenario.
Well, what we do with these scenarios we do now is you have random setups. Okay. And what happens is both the players and us. So let's just say, Mo, you break out Lock and Load Tactical, okay, and you set the game up to play, and you like that setup. I believe you hit F5. It sends that setup for that scenario to Tom.
Okay.
As long as you're not doing something screwy, Tom will save it. Now the AI will pick. It could be one setup. It could be 50 setups. I think it's 9,199 per scenario. So there's a challenge with somebody. But, and it will randomly decide how to set up based on the scenario setups it has available to it. So as gamers play more and save these things for us, they are now becoming.
No, Brant, it can't do kabuki dances.
No. You have to pay money for that, buddy.
Well, yeah, he wants the kabuki dance so that way he can get it to pole dance and he can start throwing dollars at it.
And the other thing, one of the things we're looking to program in there is for the AI is turns, meaning that, hey, for the first 3 turns, you might want to hold off.
Yeah.
But then the last 5 turns, you want to race forward to grab the objectives.
Well, it's kind of like here it goes into what Fangawolf was saying. It's a good step forward. If it was profiles, you can make many and then have it randomly pick one. You wouldn't know its reaction, which is kind of what I was asking before without using the term profiles. Is if you can have a set of, for this objective or for this area of the map, do this, or you can do this, or you can do this, like a menu of items, and then it would just randomly select one. Or even if there was ways, I mean, I know this is probably not the way it is right now, but maybe in the future, if it's possible, where you can kind of customize that a little bit more to where you say, if they're not doing anything on the right side of the map, well, then don't just sit there, maybe move over because you hear gunfire that's in the next sector, however the map is designed, broken down, I should say, digitally for where the AI is going to react to. You maybe have a soft trigger point that's a little further out to where, hey, we hear fire in the distance. We ain't got nobody over here. Let's go over and assist our guys over in here. And then you can end up flanking people and not expected. They don't expect the flanking maneuver. And there you go.
Well, one of the things we tried to do, we're not there yet, and we may never be, is to have the sound and distance dictate some of the AI's actions. So if it hears a whole bunch of gunfire halfway across the map, it's a lot quieter than if it's 4 hexes away. If it's 4 hexes away from units, it may react to that differently than if it's 20 hexes away, for argument's sake.
Yeah.
Didn't quite do what we wanted it to do. So, there are stuff like that we're working on, but it's not going to be tomorrow or the day after, but I definitely think this AI is a step up. I mean,
good.
I was watching people play the Wake Island scenario, not watching, but watching the feedback of the Wake Island scenario that just came out for the Emperor. And, it's deadly. It's very tough for the Japanese to play. And that's exactly how Devin designed it. And the goal is to be able to give you 2 or 3 or 5 profiles of defenses, but we want it to react to the person that you're playing against. Yeah. Okay. True. You may have hey, let's sweep left. And if he's sweeping right, well, that's not going to make a very exciting game. So how do you react to that? And it also depends on the missions. I mean, most generators have 2 or 3 stances at most. We have, I think, 5 or 6.
Now, what about maps? As far as is there going to be a map editor, or you can add in your own maps?
Right now, the system will only use the maps in the game.
Sure.
Okay, you have to own the DLC to use the maps. Okay, you can right now select. Like I said, player 1 can be from one game, player 2 can be from another game. That you own the DLC, guys. Map selection number 3 can be from a different game. Okay. The thing that we are working on right now, Tom, is that's I think going to be this week, is we want to be able to let you see all the maps you own and plop them down as you see fit.
Nice.
Okay. So you might want to play. Let me see I'm just trying to think of something here. The Japanese against the Americans, okay? But you want to use some of the jungle maps from Heroes of the Nam, because jungle, and mix them up, okay? So that's partially what we're going to do there. Now, as far as a map editor goes, I don't have a timeline on it yet, okay? The goal, it will be a separate product. It's not going to be part of the battle generator, just so everyone knows. And what that will do is we don't want ugly maps. I mean, we took a lot of time to paint it. Mark Van Marshall, and everyone give a little praise to Mark here because he's just incredible with his graphics. He is developing a library, or has developed a library, okay, that we're going to start with, I believe, Normandy, okay? And and you're going to start with a green background, like the basic green.
Sure.
So whether it's what's the word I'm looking for? Geomorphic or not, we'll put the little road exits on each box, okay? And then you can plop down the terrain that you see actually in the game now. So you're not just going to get some type of game, squiggly line, generated Lego graphics. It'll be much more artistic graphics, and you can pick the hex sides. And we're going to use that as a test bed. If that works well, we're going to let you do that to all the games. If it doesn't work well and it comes out like crap, you may never ever see a map editor possibly. Yeah. Okay.
Well, we need that map editor because I think that would really open up a whole bunch of possibilities. A lot.
The reason we did it this way because we want to get all of the options in the editor set up, and then give you all. I know one of the options we're going to have is, again, the plan is to give you transparencies. And what we mean by that is you can take barbed wire, foxholes, what do they call those? Tank. The
hold down.
No. What is it when not tank traps?
The wrecks.
When you can't move a tank through anymore. Dragons are they called now?
Dragon. Oh, you're. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. The tank traps.
So the tanks can't move it. Those type of things you'll be able to.
Mulberries.
You can put any of those. On any clear or road hex. You can't put them on a building, but you could put them on a hex side that's on a building, let's say. Yeah. But you can't put a barbed wire on a building that's got a hex that has a building that has a wall, can't necessarily get a barbed wire. So there's going to be some restrictions, but you'll be able to modify an existing map and then save that data too. So dragon teeth, that's what they're called. Thank you.
Dragon teeth. There you go.
Okay.
So that all sounds really great, and really looking forward to seeing more of that and more of the tabletop games. And I know we'll be seeing some next month and just a few weeks from now. And stay tuned to the channel. I'll be trying to share as much information as I can about that, some videos of this. And if we can get Kev to come out, he and I will probably sit down and look through all this stuff as well. And we'll both have stuff on our channels to talk about all of these games. But we're going to wrap this up for today. And Dave, really appreciate you taking the time to stop by and join us, and everybody for joining in on the show as well. And we've got we've got one more show, and that is the happy hour that will be happening in about 45 minutes or so. Brant and I, and maybe some other special guests as well, will be joining in as we close out the next Armchair Dragoons digital convention. I appreciate all you guys for tuning in today, and appreciate all you guys for stopping by with your questions as well, and for everybody that participated in the Armchair Dragoons digital convention. We'll see you guys in the next show, guys. Take care.